My name is Cathy Shea. I'm here with Kelley Bean, and we're the co-leaders of the UNICON Leadership Academy. Before we begin the webinar, as protocol for every face-to-face session and webinar, we post and walk through our UNICON antitrust competition statement. And it's posted here. I won't read through it all, but what I'd like you all to realize is that this is something that we take seriously, that competition, anti-law competitions, for example, prohibit agreements between competitors to fix prices and also to limit monopolies. We believe that vigorous competition is essential for driving innovation, improvements, and efficiencies in all industries, including the executive education industry. And we believe that these services it provides members, that the services to provide members foster that competition. So with that said, we would like to welcome you all, and I will turn this over to Kelley Bean, who is the president and CEO of Garden. The UNICON Leadership Academy was Kelley's sort of brainchild. And when I was on the board, Kelley brought this to the board about 3 years ago, and I jumped on board because I think it was something that I believe in, and I'm happy to be working with Kelley and moving this forward.
That's great, Cathy. Thank you, Cathy. I really appreciate it, and welcome to everyone to the information session on the UNICON Leadership Academy. And Cathy, thank you very much for your belief in the opportunity to develop others in the executive education space. Cathy and I have known each other for probably 20 plus years, and have really benefited from the networking and growth opportunities that UNICON has presented. And so what we want to talk to you about today is, why this program, and why is it important, and how might it be most beneficial to each of you. So we're going to walk through some slides for you to talk a little bit about the Academy. This is our third one. We've been doing, we've had 2 other cohorts that have gone through as kind of pilots, and we've been, continuing to kind of revise the program over the last 2 years. But at its core, it's stayed pretty consistent, right? So this idea of developing, inspiring, and transforming. Right? And so the program is built and designed for university-based executive education leaders, people that are seeking to transition into roles that advance your leadership position within our member schools. And so what we're looking to do is really focus in on talent that wants to stay in university-based executive education and be able to grow themselves through the industry. And so that might be at your current location, or which is a path that Cathy has had. She's continued to grow and develop within Babson, and I've taken a slightly different path where I've spent the last 20 years in this industry, but this is my 4th university. So I led the charge at, or became part of the University of South Carolina executive education experience during my graduate assistantship. Fell in love with it, and then moved along to Emory University at Goizueta Business School as the number 2, and then ultimately ended up leading that organization with some incredible mentorship from the faculty and other senior administrators, and then spent 10 years at UCLA Anderson as a associate dean, and led that operation for just under 10 years through a lot of growth, and really helped to build and shape that executive education shop that actually a colleague of mine had been running prior to. And she had been there 7 years, and she kind of tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, Kelley, you and about 4 or 5 other people, I'm interested in UCLA talking to you about carrying forth the legacy that she had started to build." And now I'm here at Darden and have been here for about the last 18 months, in leading the executive education group here. So there's lots of different paths to be able to take, and I think Cathy and I can both attest to this idea that this industry, where we have some similarities, there's also differences, and the how we learn from each other, we share actually a lot of common challenges and strengths to be able to leverage, and we're all committed to kind of the growth and development of participants as well as faculty. So this program is about providing you with that opportunity to see the business from a lens of where an associate dean or an executive director might sit and how we think about the business and being able to grow the business. And so we'll talk much more in depth about the program and some of the different elements that it's going to include for you. But it's basically a flexible format. It's an online plus a 4-day immersion that's wrapped around the Team Development Conference this year that'll be at the University of Maryland. The profile we're looking for are folks at kind of the director level but seeking to advance. So we want you to be able to have have been in the industry for probably at least a year, that you've got you could still be an individual contributor, but you're looking to maybe lead a department or to, to continue to advance your career, and maybe even one day lead your own executive education shop. The program's endorsed. The board is fully behind this. You'll get a certificate of completion at the end of the program, and Cathy and I make a big deal about you at the Team Development Conference. And the pricing is $850, which is in addition to attending the Team Development Conference. All right, some of the program benefits. It's really the first ever program focused on the development of executive educational professionals. As Cathy said, you guys are would be the third cohort. We've had about 30 people that have come through the program. And Cathy, I think the last time we checked, it was about 10 or 12 that have advanced in their positions, whether it's at their current schools or maybe even moved to some other schools. It's a flexible format that blends some online virtual content with face-to-face immersions and that conference experience. It's fully integrated into the Team Development Conference, so you'll be pulling on the themes of the Team Development Conference and experiencing that as well. It's developed by exec ed for exec ed. So you're going to find leaders global leaders from our industry that are volunteering and committing their time to help advance your knowledge and skills, and help to build some of those mentoring relationships. And it really enables participants to accelerate your advancement in executive education. So once again, that's the goal. We want to develop a pipeline of leaders for university-based executive education. And I have to tell you that there's just high impact peer networking and peer learning experiences. So the group that came through last year, small and mighty, and they regularly have WhatsApp conversations and are reaching out to each other to share best practices, reaching out to Cathy and I and a lot of the other people that they were exposed to. So they are really, really engaged with each other. And the first year, the first year cohort had some experiences where, they were maybe looking to integrate Salesforce or another CRM system. And so the cohort kind of pulled together with other people in their organizations to be able to talk about, what are the pluses and minuses of some of these systems, and, how has it been able to be integrated. So the whole idea is to bring the beauty of UNICON, of kind of sharing best practices that can be shared across all of our institutions to bear. Right. Cathy, anything you want to add on the program benefits?
Yeah, so on that peer networking piece, what I say to folks, Kelley and I, 20 plus years in the industry, working our way through committees and conferences and board chairs. It took a while to get in the groove of UNICON. What we have found with the folks that attend this program, it's a jump start. You have this instant network of folks that you can, sort of call upon. I'm struggling with this issue. Help me figure this out. That probably took us years to build up. So yeah. It's really beneficial.
Absolutely. So let me go ahead and talk a little bit about the target audience and the learning objectives and outcomes. And then Cathy, I think maybe I'll pause and see if we have any initial questions before I turn it over to you to kind of go over some of the details.
Okay.
So the target audience, and we've talked a little bit about this while we've been on the line, but I just want to re-emphasize it. It's really about individuals that are seeking kind of T-shaped leadership development within the exec ed industry, right? So think about, when you think about T-shaped leadership, and some of you may teach this in your leadership development programs, that the vertical part of the T, right, the up and down part of the T is about learning additional skills, right? How do I develop strategy? How do I think about financial implications? How do I communicate better within my university, right? And then the top of the T is, well, how do I put all of this together? How do I step back and think about the business from a perspective of what's important to the dean and what's important to the faculty and what's important to our clients and what's important to the business school and what's important to the university, and do I have a continuing ed shop on campus that I need to also think about? And so what we're trying to do with this program is give you the opportunity to think beyond maybe your functional role and really begin to think about, how can I be a strategic thinker and a strategic partner about what's happening in the business, what's happening in the industry? How can I anticipate what some of those changes might be? So it gives you that opportunity to kind of get out of the day-to-day of the doing of, which all of us are really small businesses when you think about it, right? So we get worried about, is the catering going to show up? What's going to happen with the bus? Are the faculty prepared from a customized standpoint of this program? And sometimes all of those functional roles that we play, we can get stuck in the doing. And this is that opportunity for you to step out of that and to think much bigger and broader and really be an advocate for your leadership in your shop. And so it's targeted, once again, at director level leaders. We have had some folks that are associate directors that are on a path to move up into directors, so that is something we can consider. We're looking for 2 years of university experience. I had said earlier 1 year, so we would look at all applications that are about 1 to 2 years. But Cathy, we really, I think, feel that once you've been in position for 18 months or 2 years, you have a little bit better idea of kind of the university-based exec ed experience. But really, the important part is you're looking to accelerate your advancement within university-based exec ed industry. So some learning objectives and outcomes that Cathy and I really have put forth to the team that will be helping to lead the sessions. The first is, leverage an expanded network of colleagues facing similar challenges and opportunities within the exec ed industry. We want to create that platform for peer learning and knowledge so that you can share, to further support individual, team, and industry growth. And so that idea of each of you as an individual learner are going to be working on things as this cohort, and what you can take back to your teams, and then really looking at how do we continue to advance the industry. Another learning objective is that we want you to be able to innovate more effectively, applying newly acquired frameworks and best practices to ever increasingly complex industry challenges. So, we will have a session with Clark Callahan at Harvard and Joaquin Ibarra at IE Business School. They've been leading this the last 2 years, and it's just fantastic. It's what are the trends? What's happening, at the kind of at the really big picture level of learning and development, and how does executive education respond, right? And so, and then there's a session with Monica Sacristan, who's the Dean of Executive Education and Continuing Education at ETOM, where we, put you through the business model canvas as a way to think strategically. And so Cathy will go into a little bit more depth on some of these things. The third learning objective is really being able to analyze and navigating kind of those competing stakeholder expectations, which I deal with almost on a daily basis for the last 20 years, to successfully position exec ed as a key player within the business school as well as with clients. It's an art to be able to do this, and being able to give you more knowledge to be able to make that happen is one of the objectives. And then finally, to use more advanced problem solving, decision making, critical thinking skills for both personal and professional development within the context of the exec ed industry. So Cathy, I'm going to turn it over to you, and if you want me to add any other particular thoughts about any of the sessions, just give me a holler.
So the program structure, the program will sort of officially start on or about November 1st. At that time, we'll send out a welcome letter, a set of pre-readings, and then we'll bring you all together for a webinar to sort of set up the program, set up the expectations, and that'll all happen. To be determined the schedule. That'll all happen first 2 weeks of November. In the homework, there's some reflections, some pre-work. We ask that you prepare that and send that to us in advance of the in-person part of the program. So November, again, really, it's a webinar, it's the pre-work, it's some reflection work, and it's 3 to 4 hours of a commitment. Then you join us, really, actually, I should say it's end of November this year, for the in-person part of the program. We ask that you arrive on the Monday evening, which on the Monday evening, November 26th, it appears. And at that time, we start the program, 4-day immersion, first thing, this cohort, 8 a.m. on that Tuesday morning. And we're together for a day and a half, and then we have you join the team conference. And really important, when the team conference ends at noontime on that Friday, we all gather after lunch and spend the afternoon together, because what we do there is that we look at the learnings from the week, put together some action plans, some individual development planning, and launch for the virtual. So we really ask for the commitment that you arrive Tuesday at 8 a.m. and stay through 4:30 on that final Friday. So we all know that December is crazy. You've been gone for a week. We're closing up, the quarter, the year. So we give you sort of December off. Before you leave in December, though, we're going to sort of set up some times that we're all committed for the next sort of 4 to 6 months. So we have a series of sort of virtual mentoring. So in January, we'll reconnect. How are things going? What's happening? A peer check-in. We'll launch our mentoring program. And then in February, March, April, May, and June, we'll run a series of what we call virtual job shadows. Again, and so once a month or so, we'll bring in industry experts, leaders in the industry, and we'll have sort of like what we did in, rather than face-to-face in the December timeframe, we'll do sort of sessions with leaders. And again, each month we'll have sort of peer check-in, and we'll work on the virtual mentoring. So that sort of runs through, and we're going to have a plan, but we're also flexible. If there's a topic that comes up that we think is important, and we'll go into our network, we'll schedule something. As Kelley said, sometimes the participants in past cohorts have said, this is important to us, we'll self-organize. So that's sort of the structure. So there is a time commitment, like a webinar, the mentoring, individual development planning. Kelley and I are available to answer questions, to move you along, to put you in touch with the right resources for you to move forward in your own sort of leadership and individual development planning. Anything you want to add in there, Kelley?
I would just make the same point, Cathy, that you made, is that, this last group had a big interest in program design. And so we brought, as one of the virtual job shadows, we spent some time and some focus on that. So, that's something that Cathy and I really look at when we're together for those 4 days, and what are some of the content and topic areas that come up. And so that we can, be able to customize this to what the group needs. Cathy, we did get one question, if you're okay, before you move on to the, the program. And so Leslie asked, would we have access to the alumni of this program, that is class participants? Yes, absolutely. And we actually encourage them to come and engage with us. So we, open up some of the virtual job shadowing to people if they're interested. And Samantha Jones, who's actually going to be hosting the conference at the University of Maryland, was in our first cohort. And then she came last year to the Team Development Conference in Mexico, that we had in Mexico, in Monterrey. And she came to the opening reception. She actually came to some of the sessions again. And the group completely adopted her. So like, she's on their WhatsApp, she's, has regular calls with the group as well. And she's joined us, for some of the job shadowing. So yes, the team is, the folks that have been through it are very open to continuing to participate. So Leslie, hopefully that was helpful. So Cathy, I'm going to go ahead and move to the next slide.
Yep. So as you see, we launch on the face-to-face piece on November 27th. So I'll walk through and who and what we're doing there, but just to give you an idea, these are all folks that are seasoned exec ed individuals. They've been on the board, they've worked on many committees, they lead exec ed within their institutions. On the Monday, Tuesday, the UNICON board is in session. So those board members are not part of the face-to-face week. We bring them off, and you'll get to meet them that evening, but we bring them on the virtual job shadow. So they can't leave the board meeting, but they choose to join us in later sessions. So just so you've got exposure to many of our board members, as well as folks that have been on the board and had many dealings within UNICON. So we open up Kelley with a welcome. Kelley frames it up on managing your growth. What does that look like? And tees up really your learning journey and your growth trajectory through the course of the program. Then, as she said, we bring in Monica Sacristan, who is leads exec ed and is a leadership and strategy professor. And will be her third year working with us on leading change and looking at strategy and doing the business model canvas. So it's very strategic. It's very sort of looking at how you grow your business and grow yourself as a leader. And then we, at the end of that day, we bring you back to the hotel, and we have you meet with the current UNICON board and the emeritus that are joining for the Team Development Conference. So, and that's a time for you to sort of mingle and learn about how they've grown, what their career has looked like within UNICONs, because many of them have spent many years, like myself, anywhere from 5 to 20 years in the industry. Next. Yep.
Cathy, really quick, just to kind of add in here, Monica's sessions, particularly around the creating a strategic plan using the business model canvas. This is just to let you guys know that multiple people, have come back and said, hey, I went and did a workshop on this with my team, and it really helped us clarify. So, part of what we're trying to do is provide tools for you all as well to be able to take back into your own organizations. And then part of the managing my growth piece that I'll be working with you all on is really in response to some of the reflection pre-work that you're going to be doing about kind of where you're headed. And one of the things that we talk about is how you have to take responsibility for your growth and development, right? So
that's fair. Yep. And then the next morning we bring in Mike Malafakis, new this year for us, but as he's been a leader in digital in every way, shape, and form within at Columbia and now at Wharton. And so he's just a really great thinker and imagines the future. So he will be quite, we're quite happy to have him. As Kelley said, that will follow on with sort of executive education industry trends. And what Clark and Joaquin will do is that they'll talk about trends, get you thinking and positioned as we go into the team development conference, because there's going to be a lot of, sort of trend issues looking within the conference, and sort of encourage you and challenge you to think about where they are and take it the next step further through the team development conference. Noontime, you just fold into the conference with everyone else and attend through lunch on the Friday. In the afternoon, we pull you back in and we really look at the whole week, starting on the Tuesday. What did you learn? How does this apply? What have you learned in the team development conference? And pull it all together in terms of, applying the learning for the 4 days. Kelley then leads you through the leadership architect. You want to talk a little bit about that, Kelley?
Yeah, we use the Korn Ferry Voices kind of card sort methodology, and some of you might be familiar with that that tool, which also can be used as a 360. And we really look at, looking at those competencies in terms of what's the most important for the role that you see yourself in the next 3 to 5 years, right? So just giving you some focus around some skills and competencies that you really feel that might be important for you. And we'll walk you through what that looks like and give you an opportunity to use that both for this program in your individual development planning, and maybe even to get some feedback as you return home. It's been a tool that we've used the last 2 years in the program, and has been really helpful for people to kind of give some language around how is it that I want to continue to develop. And it's a tool that I use, for example, with all of my direct reports here at Darden, and also used at UCLA. So we build development plans and goals for the year around some of their competencies. Maybe it's fiscal financial acumen, or maybe it's business acumen, or maybe it's, political savvy, or managing organizational agility. So it just gives you some language, and it's I think it's also a nice way to set up the follow-ons activities that we're going to do, particularly the mentoring.
That's correct. Yeah.
You want me to go ahead and advance, Cathy, or?
Sure. Yeah, that's great.
And this is Cathy's brainchild, by the way, on the mentoring, which has been just a really cool addition that we made last year.
So yeah, so we piloted it last year, and we're still tweaking it. And this is probably more information than you need. We'll make this available for you to review later. But the whole idea is matching up, and it's all virtual, with someone within the industry. And now, by the way, so we sort of went out and hand-picked mentors. And of course, as soon as we did that, someone said, "Why didn't you ask me?" Right. So this year we're going to open it up to sort of senior folks. So we want to make sure that it'll be a valuable relationship, and there's someone you can learn from. But so, and then we're trying to make a match. So this does match to your sort of individual development planning. And what is it that you want to know more about? Who do I need to be? How do I become more strategic, or do I need to be more leaderly? So we'll really look at who in our network can help you move forward in terms of your individual sort of leadership desires. So we can be flexible on this, because we don't want it to be too onerous on anyone, but we want you to get the most out of it. So this is where we'll spend more time on this when we meet. But the whole idea is that you set up a series of meetings, and we really want you, and with some goals about what you hope to learn from this mentor. And some of the relationships are so 2-3 times. That's great, and some have extended. So I'm still playing with this, but we're going to definitely sort of step it up this year. And we have not quite we don't have all the plans in place, so this is still a work in progress. So we're building upon what we piloted last year and move it forward this year.
Absolutely. And Cathy, just so you know, Jennifer, who was a participant in the program last year that is on my team here at Darden, came running into my office the other day and said, I just had my mentoring conversation with Melanie, who heads up the University of Michigan, and Jennifer runs kind of all of our program delivery piece here. And she's like, it was just so insightful and really helpful. So I just wanted to let you know that was still continuing, right? Still continuing later. Well, as you guys hopefully are thinking of some additional questions, I just wanted to kind of put two testimonials up from the folks that attended the program last year. You know, UNICON Leadership Academy gave me a broader perspective of the exec ed industry, allowing me to learn from great leaders on the various aspects of business. I'm grateful to have expanded my exec ed network and to have the opportunity to share knowledge amongst each other to support the overall growth of the industry. And then Cathy and I get some special kudos, you know, in supporting the growth of future exec ed leaders. And I mean, Cathy, I think this is just a really kind of interesting point, and you know, you guys can kind of look at that second testimonial. Is that, you know, this is a passion, I think, for both you and I about both developing people, which is part of why we do what we do, but really developing people for this industry. And so we like to be able to pull together the leaders that of the industry that are aligned to that have benefited from being able to grow in this industry and really do some amazing things. So Cathy, I don't know if you want to add anything to kind of, you know, why you're doing this work with us.
You know, as I said, I think, you know, early on in my career, I sort of fumbled through because people don't really know what exec ed is. And, you know, within your own university, they don't get us. So, you know, I sort of found my path, but I just think what is great about this is that, you know, we can sort of accelerate that path, as I said before, and give you just a group of peers that you can, in your current cohort, and reach back. I mean, I can tell you, if you had a question or wanted to know more about so-and-so who went to cohort 1, and you sent them an email saying, hey, I'd like to know more about this. We're looking to expand this within our organization, boom, 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 boom. They'll be right on it. They'll give you a call. You can have a meeting. So yeah. I really think that's just a gift that I think we'd like to provide to our membership.
What I love, Cathy, about this kind of second testimonial is overall the value I got from attending the program was a degree of confidence as a leader beyond my personal industry experience that we can leverage with my team and a network of industry pros. And so I think that developing that confidence and that anticipation and a way to think about the business differently is you know, something that the participants in this program would tell you that they've really been able to gain. All right, so program starts November 1st. Applications are going to be available, I think, starting Monday, September 10th. There's a link here to the application, and I'm sure UNICON will be putting that, sending that out as well. There's, you know, we want you to write a little bit of an essay telling us a little bit about why you want to be a part of this program. And then we also ask for a recommendation from your head of exec ed. We want them to be able to be committed to your development as well. And that is a relationship that through the UNICON Leadership Academy, we really want you to be able to continue to build and get their insights on some of the things that you're learning as well. All right, well, you're getting ready and prepared to do your application. I just want to put a plug in here for the UNICON website. There's some really fantastic research that goes back quite a ways that I'd encourage you to take a look at, and some benchmarking surveys and go talk to your head of exec ed and say, what is it that I need to be able to learn? And most likely you'll be able to get inspired with some of the information that is available on the website. So write those questions down, and that can be something that you can bring into the conversation when we're together starting in November. We really hope that you apply and tell your friends about it. And we're going to cap the session this year at 20 people. So if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to either Cathy or myself, and we'd be happy to get on the phone. Or if your deans or heads of exec ed have any questions, we're also happy to engage there. Cathy, any final comments from you?
No, again, thank you for taking the time, and we look forward to your applications and any questions.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.